Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, Florida, on a very clear night, but the winds are gusting 20 to 25 miles per hour. It could be a factor in tonight's game. A sellout crowd, of course, on hand as the Kansas City Chiefs brings the NFL's best record in football to Joe Robbie to play the Miami Dolphins. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Dierdorf. Happy you're with us. There's a lot of drama around this one tonight. The Miami Dolphins got off to a great start this season. They were 4-0. Many people had picked them to go all the way to the Super Bowl. They had spent lavishly in the free agent market. They felt that their defense, a young defensive team, was going to improve dramatically. But they come in tonight struggling at 7-6, and this is a team that is under fire here in South Florida, as is their legendary coach, Don Shula, the winningest coach in the history of the NFL. They desperately need a win tonight to preserve their hopes for a playoff spot. And meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, they did not expected to do much in the AFC West for San Diego, and the Raiders figured to be big winners there. But the Chiefs come in with the best record in the NFL at 11-2, and if they win tonight, they get the first week of the playoffs off. They know if they win 2 of their last 3 games, Al, and it's been an incredible season. They win 2 of the last 3 games. There's home field advantage all the way through the playoffs for Kansas City.
Frank, I think a lot of people downplayed this team because Joe Montana retired and Steve Bono took over at the age of 33. He'd been Montana's backup in San Francisco, but he's done a very functional and efficient job. This is an offense without a lot of bells and whistles. The great running back, of course, is Marcus Allen, coming off a terrific week, the ageless wonder at the age of 35. But this team wins for the same reasons Marty Schottenheimer's teams have always won. A great defense. They're allowing only 16 points a game, and a terrific turnover differential. They very rarely cough the ball up and very frequently take the ball away. This is the 6th consecutive year the Chiefs have gone to the playoffs, but they've always had to play a first-round game. Now, if they can win 2 of their remaining 3, not only do they get the bye, but they'll make certain, at least on the AFC side, the road to the Super Bowl will go through Kansas City. Tonight they face the Dolphins. Dan, we were here 3 weeks ago for the Dolphins against the 49ers. The big story was Don Shula. 21 days later, the big story is Don Shula.
It hasn't changed at all, has it, Al? Don Shula has really become a lightning rod for this football team that has lost 6 of their last 9 games. It has been the most difficult season of his illustrious NFL career. And you have to say that 345 wins in this league should get you something. And for Don Shula, I believe that something is respect. I think he deserves respect from the fans, from some members of the media, but more importantly, he deserves respect from his players, who as a group, and I don't want to include all of them in this, but enough of them have underachieved here in 1995 to put them in the precarious playoff position that they are in. The Dolphins control their fate. If they win the remaining 3 games, they'll be in the playoffs. They have a chance even to win the AFC East if a combination of things happen. This is a defining football game for the Miami Dolphins franchise tonight. This team has not created a turnover in a month of football. And if they don't create one tonight, they'll lose and their season will be over. Well, a guy who always commands respect is the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Marty Schottenheimer, and he's down on the field with Lynn Swann right now.
And he just ran over there, too. I'll tell you, Marty, this is always a dangerous time of the year, as I remember, because you wrap up a division title. Sometimes guys relax a little bit. You play against a team still in the hunt, playing desperate football. How do you keep your team focused on winning this game?
Well, I think you only have to look back at our last 3 outings against Miami. They haven't been very pretty for us, and we've got to do something about that. I don't have any question we're ready to play tonight. The question is, I'm sure Miami is, and do we match up with them?
What do you anticipate their defense will try and do to stop Bono and Allen?
Well, I think they're going to play the defense, predominantly an over front with zone coverage and a little man-to-man in there. I don't see Miami changing anything drastically.
I know you like a good fight, Marty. Good luck.
Okay.
All right. Now, when you're 11-2, that also allows you some flexibility in what you do with personnel. To that end, Marty Schottenheimer is not going to play Derek Thomas. He has a groin pull. He is not even suited up for tonight's game. Al?
All right, thank you, Lynn. And that means we'll see a lot of Anthony Davis at linebacker. Pete Stoyanovich to kick off to the rookie to 9. Up to the 28-yard line. A 19-yard run back, and that's where the Kansas City Chiefs will take over. Steve Bono first appeared with the Vikings in '85, played with the Steelers during the strike in '87, then to San Francisco, now in Kansas City. And he has Marcus Allen at running back and Kimball Anders, who catches a lot of balls at fullback. Davis and Dawson are the wideouts. And Cash, the tight end. Olczak, Grunhard, Shields, and Sigler, the interior 5. Marcus Allen in motion on first down from the 28-yard line. And up the middle goes Kimball Anders, who picks up 3 to the 31. Now the Miami defense, and they have really struggled. Cross, Bowens, Klingbeil, and Coleman. The linebackers. Singleton is back. He missed last week with a shoulder. Cox and Hollier. And in the secondary, J.B. Brown, one of the corners, is hurt. Buckley takes his spot along with Vincent. Stewart and Oliver are the safeties. 2nd and 7. A double tight end set now for Kansas City. And Webster Slaughter is in the game at wide receiver. Cash in motion. Bono, good play faker, lofts one into the arms of Derek Walker, the tight end, and he has a first down up at the 43-yard line. The game's initial first down. Troy Vincent with the tackle.
Bono on the little rollout, and he is a good play faker, Al. He can really hide the football well, and a lot of the Miami Dolphins were fooled on that. But again, it's a very conservative offense. Paul Hackett calls the plays from up above. Former San Francisco 49er offensive coach, much like the 49er offense for Kansas City.
From the 43-yard line, Marcus Allen puts the ball
came loose.
It's loose. It's a loose football at the 45-yard line, and Miami has it.
Well, Miami gets that turnover finally. It was a game, November 5th, the last time that they forced the opponents into a turnover.
Unbelievable, 4 games.
They didn't have to wait long tonight. A gift from the Chiefs.
Kimball Anders.
And he actually is losing that ball, guys, before he even gets hit.
Never controlled it.
Tim Bowens comes up with the football, makes the hit, and is at the bottom of the pile. And so the Kansas City Chiefs, who lost in the playoffs here last year to Miami because of turnovers, cough it up. And it's first down Miami at the 45-yard line. Dan Marino at quarterback. O.J. McDuffie is the man in motion. And it's Bernie Parmalee cutting it back for a gain of 6 to the 39-yard line. The future Hall of Famer Dan Marino out of Pittsburgh, class of '83, 13th year at quarterback. And behind him, Bernie Parmalee is their feature back. Keith Byers, the fullback. Fryer and McDuffie outside. Eric Green, former Steeler, the tight end. Webb, Sims, Ruddy, McHale, and Milner. Milner is a rookie from Houston, and he will have his hands full tonight as he lines up very often facing Neil Smith. 2nd down and 4 at the 39-yard line. Marino has time, checks off, and then the pass is incomplete. Parmalee never had it. He was hit by George Jameson as the ball arrived.
And Smith had Marino. He had his hands on the back of Dan Marino's jersey as he was throwing. Going to see a lot of Neil Smith tonight.
Smith working on Milner, and the defense for Kansas City. Smith, Phillips, Sally Amua having a good year, and Vaughn Booker really emerging. Jameson, Simeon, and now Anthony Davis spelling Derek Thomas not suited tonight. The secondary, Carter and Hasty at the corners. Washington and Collins the safeties. Mark, the longtime cornerback. There's Derek Thomas, not in uniform tonight. Lynn Swann said he wanted to play. Marty Schottenheimer said you're going to rest. 3rd down and 4 from the 39. Marino under pressure and throws an interception into the arms of William White. In the nickel, and White is out of bounds at the 48 of Miami. So each team turns the ball over in the first 2 minutes and 27 seconds of the game.
Well, Dan Marino has thrown his share of interceptions in his illustrious career. Not many of them have been as ugly as that one, guys. We're in a Dolphin within 15 feet of William White. Right here, Dan Marino's going to make a decision. He knows he's pressured by Neil Smith. He's going to throw the ball, but he's hit in the act of throwing and can't put anything on it whatsoever. Right into the arms of William White for the, by far and away, the easiest interception in his career. Sometimes as a quarterback, you just got to eat it.
First down, Kansas City at the 48. Bono, and the pass is picked off by Troy Vincent. This is amazing. Vincent into Kansas City territory to the 44-yard line. In 2 minutes and 38 seconds, we've had 3 turnovers.
Well, that pass was almost as ugly as the other one. and not a Kansas City Chief near that one, and Bono just put it up there. We talked about the wind swirling, but I don't think that has had any impact at all. Two very poorly thrown passes, both of them picked off.
Tuesday, is Tony's son being influenced by a bad kid?
He's 11 and he has hair growing on his lip.
Yeah, but so did you.
Tony Danza stars in an all-new Hudson Street Tuesday.
Last week, Steve Bono came out of the Raider game with an injured right hand, the flexor tendon on his ring finger of the right hand, and they said it has not bothered his throwing the ball. He has a tiny little splint on there, but you just have to wonder. That ball was really thrown ugly. There's a look at that little splint. It's not even a splint. He has a tape around it. And I asked him before the game, is it bothering you? He said, absolutely not.
And Marty Schottenheimer told us yesterday he had a fabulous week of passing the ball during practice.
That was Vincent's 5th interception of the season. Here's Parmalee now swinging to the outside, and Hasty finally drags him down from behind. It'll be 2nd down and about 4. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most. And Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. I want to go back and do my part of the open over again. I'm talking about Marty Schottenheimer's teams never giving the ball up. A fumble and an interception, first 2 series. 2nd down and 4 from the 38-yard line.
Well, the Dolphins are just trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah.
They took a month off.
Here's Parmalee seeking the 1st down, and he's close to it at the 35-yard line. Tackled there by Neil Smith.
Oh, and Parmalee got a great block from Eric Green, who's been a bit of a disappointment for the Dolphins. The big tight end that came over from the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was Green who sprung the opening for Parmalee. And we look at Eric Green, only 34 receptions on the season after 2 tremendous years with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and of course in and out of the lineup because of a knee problem. And there is a look at big Eric Green, 6'5" and 280 pounds.
He's going to spend a lot of time over there on that right side to help out Milner.
3rd and a short 1. 3 tight ends set, and Keith Byers in the game as well to provide leverage. And Parmalee straight arms Hasty and is finally run out of bounds at about the 9-yard line.
When you called it, Dan, Eric Green just rolled up Neil Smith to spring Parmalee.
He pins him to the inside, and then they come all the way across the formation with Keith Sims, a left guard. There's just a huge hole there. That's as well as it can be blocked at the point of attack. Look at this hole for Parmalee. Byers does his job. Sims does it. Eric Green does it. And then this is a pretty nice little straight arm by Parmalee on Hasty.
1st and goal just inside the 9. A 27-yard run for Parmalee. And now Bernie gets taken down. We talked about Vaughn Booker really coming on. Prime example right there.
And what Marty Schottenheimer told us, the highest priority he has is stopping the running game of the Miami Dolphins. They didn't do it last year. They lost twice to them last year. They gained 130 yards during the season, 144 in the playoff game, and they couldn't control the running game. And this was the priority. And that time Booker with a fine play.
Well, it looked like Richmond Webb and Keith Sims were going to do a combination block, and they just let Booker go completely. Neither one of them touched him.
2 Pro Bowlers hit it right through him. 2nd and goal. Marino walks one and nobody's home. Good coverage. The nearest receiver was O.J. McDuffie. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 15-yard line.
Dan Marino, never shy about expressing himself when something doesn't go right, was either talking to himself or one of the Dolphin receivers.
I think about
there was
receivers.
There was nobody there.
There were a couple of them in the same area. He is not happy with it.
One of the fiercest competitors this league has seen in a long time. Not a robot by any means at the quarterback position is Dan Marino.
Dan is 0 for his first 3. 3rd and goal from the 15. Marino steps up, slings it, and it's nearly picked off. White got a hand on it, had the earlier interception, and it was nearly intercepted, but at least it drops incomplete. Mark Collins almost came up with it, and Stoyanovich will attempt a field goal.
Dan trying to squeeze one into Gary Clark and just put it in the hands of William White. He just had too much on it for White to handle it. There's Gary Clark standing right at the goal line, the intended receiver, and almost picked off again.
33-yard field goal attempt now for Pete Stoyanovich. John Kidd does the holding. Swirling breeze at Joe Robbie Stadium, and he hooks that one through. Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, based in Pompano Beach, just north of Miami, and floating high above Joe Robbie Stadium. No doubt being buffeted tonight. Windy night in South Florida, but the temperature around 70 degrees.
Winnie the Pooh would have called this a blustery day.
Blustery. Yep. Stojanovich's kick taken at the 11-yard line by Tamarick Vanover, and he's taken down up at the 33-yard line. Well, the all-time record, most consecutive games, no opponent's turnovers, was set by Dave Shula's Cincinnati Bengals last year with 4, and tied by Don's team this year.
They quickly
must be genetic,
got out of that mode.
Yep.
And
real fast.
Here's how it happens.
I say it must be genetic.
First 4 possessions of the game, a fumble, an interception, and a Miami field goal. But Miami's been the beneficiary of 2 turnovers and converted them into only 3 points. Now Bono throws, and it's caught. We'll see if it's caught at the 42-yard line. The Dolphins say no, and one official comes in, and the umpire says no as well.
They only needed one to agree with them, and they got the umpire.
I don't know. That was another poorly thrown ball by Bono. Slaughter had beaten Terrell Buckley by a considerable margin. He had good protection. It was just a bad throw. And I just wonder about that hand. He has plenty of time to throw the ball. Look at the ball. Look at the ball. Now you tell me that's a spiral? I think he's got a problem.
Gunther Cunningham, the defensive coordinator. Paul Hackett running the offense in the Kansas City booth. 2nd and 10. Allen on an old USC sweep up to the 39-yard line, just the way they did it at Troy in the early 80s. Dwight Hollier makes the tackle. Marcus, a graduate of USC and the Heisman Trophy winner there.
We did it out of the single wing, of course, Al. And
I didn't want to bring
highlights were black and white. But what a remarkable athlete and performer and person this man is. He has been an extraordinary. He's really given the Chiefs a tremendous lift. They brought in a new offenseman to Paul Hackett. He picked it up like that. He has meant so much to this football team.
3rd and 4. Willie Davis in motion from the 39-yard line. And the pass is too high, intended for Anders, and he gets knocked down by Oliver at the end of the play. So the Miami defense dominating early on. 2 turnovers and forcing a 3-and-out here, and this will be the first punt of the game.
I think Louis Oliver really lucky.
Excuse me, Dan, but Bono is yet to throw a good pass.
I agree with you, and Oliver should have been flagged for a late hit here. This is a blatant late hit by Louis Oliver. That ball had been gone for 2 seconds when he comes up and lays a shot on the receiver. That should have drawn a flag.
Louis Aguiar having a Pro Bowl type year, the punter, and he booms this one inside the 5, takes a sideways bounce, and just does cross the goal line. Touchback flag down back at the line of scrimmage. Johnny Greer is the referee, and he'll make the first call of the night.
I think you've got a pretty good idea of which way the wind is gusting.
Ineligible man downfield. So Greer will talk it over with the Dolphins, and the Dolphins have the option now of having Kansas City kick it again or taking it at the 20-yard line.
I'd be tempted to take it at the 20. With the wind at his back like that, I think they run the risk of being pinned inside their 20. I'd be tempted to just take it at the 20 and settle for that. It could be worse.
Eligible member of the kicking team downfield, number 51, is declined. First down.
Well, here's the play on 3rd down, and look how late this hit is by Louis Oliver on Kimball Anders. Extremely lucky for the Dolphins. There was no flag.
Contact lens, so he'd like to get Marino in his sights, but for the moment he's on the bench, and you've got Keith Traylor at tackle and Darren Mickles spelling Booker on this series. First down Miami at the 20-yard line. 8:16 to go in the quarter. 3-0 Dolphins. Marino looking for his first completion. And there it is, into the arms of Irving Fryer, 15 yards and a first down, into the arms of the man who caught the touchdown pass last week that may have salvaged Miami's season.
Now at 33 years old, not having the year that he had a year ago, but that was his 49th reception on the season. Had a few drops, a few complaints by the fans here in South Florida, but a good move. He put a good drive on Hasty. Hasty respecting his speed to go deep.
First down at the 35-yard line. Dolphins trying to establish the run, but they don't on that play. Earlier, Parmalee broke one for 27. This one just a yard, tackled by Joe Phillips.
This defense has changed for Kansas City with the addition of Gunther Cunningham, a new defensive coordinator. Of course, with Derek Thomas out of the lineup, pulled groin. Marty didn't want to take a risk that he was going to pull it and hurt it further. And there is Gunther Cunningham, who came in as really a defensive line coach, and then he took over when Dave Adolph left and went to San Diego, and he's done a fine job. This is an attack defense, and they have not been like this for several years.
2nd and 8. Terry Kirby in the game in the backfield. He stays in the block. Marino gets flushed out, pursued from behind, and then throws it away. It'll be 3rd down and 8, pursued by Darren Mickle. Before the night is done, Marino will break another mark in all likelihood. That for most passes in a career. Another of Fran Tarkenton's old marks will go down.
It'll really just complete his run on the record book. He will have really achieved all of the major records, and Fran in attendance here tonight. The ceremony down on the field prior to the game honoring Dan Marino, and Fran was here and kind enough to have some kind words for the man that has moved him into 2nd place in all the major passing records in National Football League history.
Marino reluctantly and frustratingly has to take a timeout. Well, this took place about 20 minutes before the game. Dan Marino acknowledged by the crowd. Don Shula, team owner Wayne Huizinga. Huizinga in your picture right there. Fran Tarkenton down on the field, and he's broken the marks for completions, touchdown passes, yardage, and 26 more passes, and he'll tie Tarkenton's record for most passes ever. 3rd down and 8 after the timeout, and Marino throws, and that is incomplete. Mark Collins got an arm on it. Gary Clark, the intended receiver, and in the swirling wind with Neil Smith holding his leg, Marino starts out 1 for 7.
Well, that one should have been picked off by Mark Collins, and Collins knows it. He was right there, and I just don't think he expected the ball to get there as quickly as it does. I mean, a lot of times, if you haven't been catching a lot of Marino balls, it travels a lot faster than you're going to think, and that sometimes affects a defensive player.
Well, the Chiefs already minus Derek Thomas, and you saw Neil Smith go hobbling off. John Kidd to punt. Tamarick Vanover to run it back. 45-yard punt to the 19-yard line, and the rookie out of Florida State who played in the Canadian Football League last year takes it back to the 36. 6:30 to go in the quarter. Marcus Allen on first down for Kansas City up to the 39-yard line. That's a gain of 4 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 6, and they work on the leg of Neil Smith.
Have to keep in mind Kansas City with that 11-2 record. I doubt they'll be reckless. I would think that Marty Schottenheimer, with any sort of a negative report from the medical staff, that there's a chance of anything happening to Neil Smith or any player like him that might keep him from playing a little farther down the road. He's not going to be in there anymore today.
2nd and 6. Anders in motion. Greg Hill is in the game, and last year's top pick puts the ball on the ground. And Kansas City, a team that had turned the ball over 16 times all season coming in, has just coughed it up for the 3rd time in 9.5 minutes. Tim Bowens recovers.
Kansas City well ahead in giveaway takeaway ratio in the league coming into tonight. So uncharacteristic of them.
Well, there's Tom Olivedati. making noise on the Dolphins sideline. Why, I don't know. But I know one thing. Marty Schottenheimer the first couple of times has been very benevolent to his troops as they come over to the sidelines. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's going to have a meltdown pretty soon. The Chiefs are playing like a team that expected to mail this in. And that just doesn't work in the NFL.
Tim Bowen's just ripping it out of there. And recovering it as well for the daily double. 43-yard line. Marino going deep, and that's nearly picked off. Fryer, the intended receiver. Carter covering on the play.
Irving Fryer ends up breaking that thing up, or I think Dale Carter does intercept it. Irving Fryer becomes the defender.
Good coverage by Carter out on the left corner. He's turning into one of the fine cornerbacks in the league. Pro Bowler a year ago. Great positioning, and Fryer did save what would have been an interception had he not got that hand in there. The two quarterbacks tonight, a collective 2 of 12. Second down and 10 from the 43-yard line. And it's Kirby slithering through for a gain of 5 to the 38. And, well, Derek Thomas is in street clothes, and Neil Smith is going back to the locker room. The 1-2 punch, the heart and soul of that defense, missing in action. They were looking at Neil Smith on the bench, and, of course, we talked about Derek Thomas out of the game. They maybe just conservatively keeping him out tonight, but he has a slight pulled groin. But Neil Smith, they were looking at the inside of his leg, not necessarily the knee.
All I know is pressure on Dan Marino is what counts, and 17 sacks collectively are out of this game for the Chiefs.
3rd and 6. Juan Booker moves over to the left side and does a spin move, but Marino gets it away, and the pass is caught by Irving Fryer. He is wrapped up immediately by Carter, and forward progress will take him only to the 32.5-yard line. And not a first down. 33-yard line.
It was at the end of the last Miami Dolphin possession when Neil Smith got hurt. Let's take a look. He's on the left side of your screen. He's going to come in from behind. Watch his leg whip around right there in a collision with one of his teammates. Was that Booker? It was either Booker or Mickle coming from the other side. You see when his leg kind of whipsaws through the air right here. It's with Vaughn Booker, and you can see that's where the injury occurred, and he already snaps it up in pain. And we'll pass along any injury information we get as soon as we get it.
They'll be short of the first down here. Well, and credit Dale Carter again with fine coverage on Fryer to prevent the first down, and the offensive unit comes back onto the field with 4th and 1 inside the 35-yard line of KC.
And especially fine tackle, Frank, when you consider how strong Irving Fryer is. He is a solid 200-pounder, not easy to make him go backwards.
This is the move to make here. Otherwise, you're looking at a 50-yard attempt and a swirling wind, and if you miss it, Kansas City would take over at about the 40 or 41.
Well, we know Barry Switzer would go for it.
Yes. 4th and a yard from the 33, and Marino juggles the snap and recovers and throws complete to Ronnie Williams for the 20-yard line, and for the 10th time in 12 chances this year, Miami converts on 4th down. Only the 3rd reception of the year for Ronnie Williams. And that was a frantic-looking play. Bobbled by Marino. Somehow he got possession. I think he had intended to go again to Fryer, but Williams was the open target, and he was able to get it there.
Well, Dan's trying to get out early.
Where is that ball?
It's everywhere. Outstanding job of concentration by Marino.
First down at the 20-yard line. McDuffie comes in motion. And they run it off the weak side, and Parmalee takes it inside the 18-yard line. A gain of 2, close to 3. 2nd and about 7. Good matchup a week from tonight. We go to 3Com Park. Knee Candlestick. Minnesota against the 49ers. The Vikings and the 49ers next Monday night from San Francisco. Not a bad duo. Steve Young and Warren Moon. He's back on again. He's hot with the Vikings, and they need a win. 2nd down 7 from the 17. 3 minutes to go in the quarter. Marino the play fake, and then Byers makes the catch, and he gets tackled out in the open field by Anthony Davis at the 15-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 5 coming up.
It's not often you see Dan Marino break contain. That's how come he gets out there. I don't think the Chiefs spent a lot of time this week working on having Dan get outside the perimeter. But a bootleg is a bootleg, even if Dan Marino runs it. And the play fake, and out he comes. And Vaughn Booker didn't honor his responsibility, and, you know, why should he? Dan's not really a threat to go anywhere with it.
3rd and 5, Miami up 3-0 late first quarter. Kirby one-hands it, but he had to restore it, and thus he is tackled at the 15-yard line. No gain on the play, and in comes Stoyanovich. Salimua and Davis in on the tackle, and now Stoyanovich comes in for about a 33-yard attempt.
Well, you see the Chiefs on that play. There were 5 defensive players that were immediately in the area for the tackle. Watch Kirby now. He gets hit. He one-hands a fine catch, but there are Chiefs everywhere. That's called swarming defense, and that's what the Chiefs have bbeen doing all year long.
Well, when a defensive tackle ranges all the way out there to make the hit like Salimua did, that's when you got a team that's hustling.
33-yarder. John Kidd puts it down, and through the swirling wind, Stoyanovich converts for the second time in the game. 1:30 left in the opening quarter. It's Miami 6, Kansas City nothing. Dan Marino, an uncommon start for him. 5 of 12 for 35 yards and 1 pick. Carl Hairston, the defensive line coach, going over things along with Marty Schottenheimer, who always tries to stay upbeat. His team 11-2, but even though they've clinched the West, as we mentioned at the very top, this is a team that is used to getting to the playoffs, but has always played a first-round game in the 90s. Now they're looking not only for that bye week, but the home field advantage throughout.
Well, and what Marty has to be saying to these guys, I think, simply is, look how horribly we have played. Look how we have turned the ball over in our own territory. And, gentlemen, in case you haven't noticed, a touchdown and an extra point will give us the lead. They're very fortunate to be in this position. There's a guy that could give him a touchdown.
Yes.
As we well know, we saw it on a Monday night.
Featured it in our opening tease tonight. He ran back that punt in overtime, and he collects this one at the 3-yard line. He's chased down by Wilson. He escapes a tackle by Clark. And Vanover will give you a thrill, fumbles the ball out of bounds at about the 37-yard line.
He has got great speed, and more than anything, he is so strong. Former Florida State football player, taken in the 3rd round this year, but actually played a year in the Canadian Football League at Las Vegas. And what a difference. Paul Hackett and I were talking earlier. He said, instead of getting the ball at the 20 or the 23 or 4, we are getting the ball now at the 34 and 35, and they just love that as an offensive unit.
There's Big Neal making his way back out to the Kansas City sideline.
Kansas City has turned it over 3 times in the quarter. The 36 now, Marcus Allen at the age of 35 and steps out of bounds at the Miami 46-yard line. Broke a Terrell Buckley tackle and moves the ball for a gain of 19.
I think that was a 35-year-old juke on Terrell Buckley, and Marcus, I tell you, he is amazing. And to go through what he did last week against the Raiders, when he was just such a dominant force running the ball over 120 yards rushing. But watch the move he puts on Terrell Buckley. Buckley knows he's tackling a legend here.
No, he's not.
He just kicked right through it.
From the 45-yard line, Bono fakes to Allen, buys time, finds the open man, and it's caught by Derek Walker, the tight end. First down at the Miami 28-yard line. Dwight Hollier makes the tackle. That's a gain of 17. And let's get a word from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Well, Al, Neil Smith went into the locker room. The report is it's a right leg contusion, the bruise. But when he walked out, he was telling me that he just got kicked or leg whipped in the thigh. They wrapped it, and he didn't give any indication whether or not he felt he could go comfortably. So he's still questionable. Al?
First down, Marcus Allen from the 28-yard line goes next to nowhere on what will be the final play of the quarter. Dwight Hollier makes the tackle, and that's the end of the first quarter in Miami. The Dolphins 6 and the Chiefs nothing. And Monday Night Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Steve Bono again. You can see the right ring finger with the little piece of tape on. I don't think there's a splint there. You can use a splint during the week, but you can see the ball, not a tight spiral whatsoever. He does not have one of the great tight spirals, but I just have got to think something is bothering him.
Yet Marty went on and on about how well he threw the ball all week during practice.
Well, maybe that's to spin.
Yeah, I don't think he was lying to us.
Maybe he was trying to convince himself. 2nd down and 9 from the 27-yard line, and the screen is set up for Anders, and it is behind him and through his hands.
Maybe he was.
Shit. 3rd and 9 now. Last week when Bono went out, Rich Gannon came in. He hadn't played during the regular season, and Gannon did a very good job, scored a touchdown. There's Rich, a long-time backup, but that augurs well for the future. If they have to go to Gannon, the team now has the confidence he can get the job done. He did it last week in Oakland. 3rd down and 9 from the 27. Good protection, and the pass is high and through the fingertips of Kimball Anders. It'll be 4th down. That one floated, and Terrell Buckley thought he might have had a pick opportunity.
Well, you hate to harp on it, but again, another poorly thrown ball. And it's kind of a breeze, and it is gusty. If you don't have a tight spiral, you're going to lose it. Look at this ball.
4th down. Lynn Elliott now a 44-yard attempt. He missed 2 extra points last week in Oakland. Louis Aguiar holding. 44-yard attempt. And that one is wide to the right. .16 seconds into the 2nd quarter. 6-0 Dolphins. American pay-per-view phenomenon. That's tomorrow on GMA. Good Morning America.
Connie Gibson.
Did you know
he's a good football fan? He loves it.
Did you know Charlie is a descendant of Charles Dana Gibson, the gentleman who created the Gibson Girls?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. True story. It's the truth. I'm not making that up.
Here's Marino from the 35, and that's dropped by Irving Fryer. And Frank, you talked about the drop passes, and there were several of them last week and the week before, and one right here.
Well, it wasn't the perfectly thrown ball, but it wasn't a hot ball. It was one that I'm sure that Irving would tell you I should have caught. Marino actually looking off to the right, found the slot. Well, Irving knows you got to catch that.
It's been a problem for these Dolphin receivers all season long. Extremely inconsistent.
2nd and 10, very un-Marino-like numbers. Early 2nd quarter, Miami on top 6-0 on 2 field goals, and Kirby gets taken down as he reaches the line of scrimmage. Dan Saliamua in on the tackle.
Big Dan had really an off year last year, guys, as you well know, but this year he has really come on. He has, I think, made a real run at the Pro Bowl, and most people in the AFC, myself included, think he deserves a spot on the AFC Pro Bowl team at defensive tackle.
He's calling it the Honolulu year.
Yeah. Well, a guy named Saliamua, he ought to be over in Hawaii.
3rd down and 9 from the 36-yard line. Marino out of the gun. Line does its job to buy him time, and that's a 1st down as O.J. McDuffie makes the catch up at the 49-yard line.
They call him Mr. 3rd down around here, and McDuffie comes up with another 3rd down catch. That time Marino is really, I think he's starting to hit his stride now. That had some smoke on it. It got out there quickly. The coverage wasn't too bad by number 34, Dale Carter. Hasty actually in the coverage on McDuffie, but that wasn't bad coverage. Marino just had a lot on it.
1st and 10 up at the 49-yard line. Gary Clark in motion. Parmalee picks up about 3. Well, one of the themes on talk radio around here and in the papers is this Don Shula's last game as the coach of the Dolphins at Joe Robbie Stadium. This team will finish on the road, and 2 tough ones at Buffalo and then at St. Louis. And nobody seems to know the answer to that right now. Don doesn't know. Wayne Huizenga has said he has not made up his mind, but that is the story in South Florida.
Oh, would that were all of it.
We will talk to Don, an interview we did last night, and we'll hear from him at halftime. 2nd down and 7. And that's not one-handed by Parmalee, who had to reach back for it. Anthony Davis was covering on the play. It'll be 3rd down.
You just don't want to absolve Don of any of the responsibility for what's happening to his team, but you know, right there is a perfect example. There's Wayne Huizenga, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. That's the legendary Dolphin on his right. Dick Anderson, a great member of the Super Bowl teams. But Don Shula did not throw that pass. Don Shula did not drop that ball. And it's hard for me to imagine to follow the logic of some people who say that Don Shula doesn't know how to prepare a football team anymore. I find it hard to believe that he's forgotten how to do that.
3rd down and 7. Marino avoids a sack and then underthrows as it floats. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Randall Hill. The pressure that time put on by Martin Bayless on the safety blitz.
He brought Bayless in actually to take the spot that Ronnie Lott vacated when he was injured before the season started. He's filled in very well for them. Comes in on their nickel defense. Good blitzing safety man. Big man, 6'2", 210 pounds. He was right in Marino's face, but Dan was able to step inside, be able to get the ball off and avoid the sack.
And a good look at the competitive side of Dan Marino there as he unhappily came to the Dolphins bench.
John Kidd to punt on 4th and 7. Flag goes down at the line of scrimmage. End over end boot. Vanover fumbles it at the 15-yard line, and the Dolphins come up with it. Frankie Smith, at least for the moment. But a marker down at the line of scrimmage. And Kansas City indicating it's against Miami as they listen in on the conversation.
Oh, it is.
Oh, boy.
Procedure call against the Dolphins.
Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach.
Somebody moving a little quickly.
He wants to know what happened. Johnny Greer will inform us.
Illegal formation, number 29, offense, lined up in the backfield. Will penalize 5 yards and re-kick.
That's Frankie Smith, the defensive back for the Dolphins, who's on their punt coverage unit.
In fact, he wound up recovering that fumble. Or maybe he meant 49.
Well, he called 29.
Yeah. Well, was the one on the outside? Was Frankie Smith on the outside and lined up too deep? It's the only thing I could imagine.
Well, you saw Shula's reaction. Now Kidd to kick again. And that one bounces at the 2 and takes a great Miami bounce. Spins it out at the 5.
The kickers work on that, and that time he hit it perfectly.
They pinned the Chiefs deep with 12:10 left in the half. 6-0 Miami. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf, and Lynn Swan in Miami with 12:10 to go in the first half. Miami leading 6-0.
Well, that was a tough penalty for Miami. They would have had that ball inside the 20, and it was a pretty picky call.
Kansas City takes over at the 5-yard line with Marcus Allen in motion. Bono on a roll, under pressure in the end zone, and the pass is incomplete. Pressure put on by Trace Armstrong, the former Chicago Bear.
Let's go back and take a look at that punt that cost the Dolphins possession of the football. Frank referred to it as picky, and he's right. Here's Frankie Smith down here at the bottom of your screen. Take a look at where he is in relation to the line of scrimmage right here. He's really equidistant with the far Miami Dolphin wide out, and that appears to be really shaving it kind of close by the officials, who ruled that he was too far off of the line of scrimmage in the backfield.
On 2nd and 10, Allen seeking breathing room. Takes it up to the 12-yard line. He's bumped down by Troy Vincent. Gain of 7. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Another thing about that penalty, this is the first year in 20 years that the Dolphins have been penalized more than their opponents. And it's very uncharacteristic, again, of a Don Shula coach team. Well, last year, I guess, and then again this year.
3rd down and 3. Just shy of the 13-yard line. Marcus Allen is split wide to the left. Keith Cash goes in motion. And Bono rolling and looking and throws, and the catch is made by Webster Slaughter up at the 19-yard line for a 1st down. Webster in his first year with Kansas City, and Marty Schottenheimer, of course, knows all about Slaughter. He had him when he coached at Cleveland.
Yeah, and then he went off to Houston, and over 400 career receptions. Really starting to fit into this offense. Over 7,000 yards.
Now Vanover comes into the game as a wide receiver. He is split to the right, bottom of the screen, 1st down at the 20-yard line. And Bono going deep. It hangs up in the breeze, and it's incomplete. Davis had to wait for it. Buckley was there, and the wind just shot it down.
Does that ball just go through Willie Davis's hands? It looks like it's coming down like a punt, and he wasn't hit. That ball looked like it went right through his hands.
Buckley had overrun the ball thrown short, and Bono again hung it up there. You could have almost called for a fair catch on this. Now Willie Davis comes back for it. Buckley was. He has nothing to do with it.
He has both hands on it.
Touched his arm a little bit. That shouldn't have affected him.
Oh boy.
2nd and 10 now. It's a fake reverse. Allen keeps it, and he gets banged down at the 23-yard line. Dwight Hollier in on the tackle. He's the 2nd man to make contact with him. Buckley was the 1st. 3rd and 7 upcoming.
That's the best looking play that went nowhere that we've seen in quite some time. Well designed, Paul. Just didn't work.
He faked it to Vanover.
He faked it to everybody.
Yeah. But Olivedotti's defense.
Buckley stayed home, and that was a fine tackle by Buckley.
Tom's defense comes up big. Pitching a shutout to this point. 20 minutes into the game. Allen split left. 3rd and 7.
There's the corner blitz.
Corner blitz, and Bono throws, and only lines are there, so flags come down, and that's the corner blitz from Frankie Smith.
That ball, I think, hit either Sigler or Shields.
I think it hit Shields.
Shields. Bono looking for that 305-pound receiver. He found him.
That is a penalty. To throw it to an offensive lineman.
Illegal touching of a pass. Number 68, offense. That's a loss of down, 4th down.
Gentlemen, would you agree with me that to this point in time, this has been a sloppy football game?
It's been played in fits and starts.
There's, again, so much drama involved around it. What's going on down here in Florida, and it was Shields, number 68.
It was a good move by Sigler to make him miss.
He dodged it. He dodged it.
Here's Aguiar. Line drive, end over end boot. And it rolls out of bounds at the 37. So Marino and the Dolphins take over there. 9:49 to the half. 6-0, the Dolphins. Larry Chambers is the captain. The Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes hovering above Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami, where ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. This Bud's for you. Hollywood Pictures, Nixon, coming soon to the theaters everywhere. And Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Dan Saliamua.
Trippingly off the tongue, huh?
He fills that face mask, doesn't he?
From the 37-yard line, Miami leading 6-0. 1st and 10. Flags down. Parmalee tackled by Simeon after a gain of 5, and we'll get the call from Johnny Greer. You know, thinking about this game, funny thing about it, so much expected of Miami, and that's why the fans are so disappointed, and yet very little is expected of Kansas City, relatively speaking, and that's why they have been as big a surprise as we've seen in the National Football League this year.
I think part of it too, Dan and Al, last year Miami came within 1 field goal to going to the AFC Championship game. They were 10-6, and the defense was supposed to improve. They spent millions in free agency, picking up the players they thought they needed, got off to a great start, and then it totally fell apart. And it's been a shock here in South Florida.
Well, and really everyone expected Kansas City to be in big trouble because of the absence of Joe Montana, and it has really been anything but.
There's Parley on 1st and 5.
Because Steve Bono was a question mark. This is a man who really had never even started an entire season in the National Football League before, and who would have known? And they guessed, they thought, obviously, Carl Peterson and Marty Schottenheimer thought that he could do it, but boy, has he really lived up to their expectations.
He had a big game. Remember, we had him, Montana was hurt. We had a game, Kansas City, Miami, a year ago. 320 yards he threw for, 3 touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions. They got behind early, and he threw some interceptions, and he performed well that night.
Well, there's a perfect fit with the offense they run, and with Paul Hackett having backed up Montana as Marino throws, and Fryer makes the catch, and Irving takes the ball into Chief territory. First down at the 49-yard line. Thank you, Irving.
Which team's 11-2?
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame anybody here on the Miami Dolphins team in trying to get them kick-started.
Fryer got matched up with Hasty and made a fine play there.
Irving with the reception that won the game against Atlanta last week, although he had some drops during the game and bobbled that one, which won it on the last play.
Marino on first down from the 48, and the catch is made by McDuffie, breaks a tackle, and that nets him a first down. 11-yard pickup to the 37-yard line.
And McDuffie does it again. He gets another first down. He just makes plays. Good return man, excellent return man, but seems to find the open spot. And Marino more and more is looking for McDuffie. Got him lined up with the linebacker Tracy Simeon. Marino sees that and gets the ball to him. First down.
Parmalee. Myers can't lay down the block on Smith, and then Carter comes up to help out to make the stop at the 36-yard line.
Frank, you're talking about O.J. McDuffie and the way that he has become a part of the Dolphins offense. That's exactly, I think, what the Chiefs have to do with Tamarick Vanover. He started as the return man, the explosive guy who can make something happen. Well, I think that Vanover has to become a part of the Kansas City offense, just like McDuffie. Throw him the short passes, put him in a position to break some tackles, and explode for a big game.
And we'll see that, I'm sure.
Second down, 8. Here's Parmalee. And Bernie with a nice move before Hasty takes him down, but he takes the football away. However, the official said the play is over. The play is over. Miami's ball.
Boy, Bernie Parmalee has been a shining light in a big darkness here in Miami. Free agent, came up as a free agent, 92, and has become the starting running back after specializing on special teams, and is now over 700 yards rushing. Very consistent player, good receiver out of the backfield. Makes a good move here, covers up the football, and does he lose it? No, he's down before he was taken away by Hasty.
Third and a long yard just inside the 29. Parmalee following Byers, and he lunges and I believe has the first down at the 26.5. That should be enough.
How about that pitch from Marino? He even throws bullets when he's pitching it to a running back. That thing looked like it took Parmalee by surprise.
Parmalee had to catch it.
I'll bet you when Dan bowls, he throws it through the back wall.
Well, we slowed it down, but that had something on it.
It had a little mustard on it. But it was in the right place.
Good second effort, too, by Parmalee to pick up that first down.
First down, Dolphins at the 27. 5:20 to go in the half. Miami up 6-0. Marino to Parmalee, but a nice read on the play by Jamison. That was his responsibility to stay with Bernie, and he turns it into a 3-yard loss.
Marino would have preferred to work downfield, but he was pressured from right up the middle. I think it was Salimua. Salimua with 6 sacks, and that's from playing that interior spot, so you know he's having a superb year.
Second and let's go to 12. 2-yard loss at the 29. 4:44 to go in the first half. 5-man rush. They pick up Davis, and the pass is caught by Fryer. Had position on Hasty, and it will be first and goal at the 5. 24 yards.
The Dan Marino throw. He's got the confidence. Not bad coverage. Hasty on Fryer, and Marino put it to where he thought his man had the advantage, and Fryer went up and came down with it. Real good coverage by Hasty. Reads the eyes, but he does not look back and see the ball.
First and goal from the 5. Herbie takes it close to the 2-yard line, ridden down by Tracy Simeon. 4 minutes to go in the first half.
He is to the point. 2 yards. Second goal from the point.
10th play of this drive. It began at the 38-yard line. Miami's 38. Kirby goes nowhere, taken down back of the line of scrimmage.
Well, Kirby makes the decision that he's going to dance to the outside. That play intended to go in the middle. Unfortunately, his lead blockers got knocked backwards.
When Dan does not like the play that they are calling for him, he waved it off. And this will be a Dan Marino special. He has something he wants to run.
Again, they face a defense that doesn't have Derek Thomas. Groin pull, not suited tonight. 3rd down goal.
They were going to bring Clark in. He waved him off. This is a Marino special.
Split back set. McDuffie comes in motion to the inside. And Marino throws to McDuffie. That's a pretty good special.
All right, Dan. Marino coming to the sidelines, and he'll say, that's what I had in mind.
Well, Don will say, you know, that's what I meant to call. Well, Miami finally finishes a drive. They've had lots of opportunities in Kansas City territory, and they finally finish one off for a touchdown.
Oh, look at that. Dan started off a little shaky, but he has got it now.
Miami has tried 7 consecutive 2-point conversions, and now they opt for one here off the foot of Stoyanovich. The perfect segue. Fly Me to the Moon, first recorded by the great Sinatra in 1964. As the Dolphins kick off, Stoyanovich, with Miami leading 13-0, sends it down to the 9-yard line. Vanover is taken down up at the 37 by Gene Atkins.
Of course, the significance of that song was that that song was recorded after Don Shula was already a head coach in the National Football League. Imagine that. You could win a few bucks on some trivia questions along those lines, couldn't you?
What was going on over the 33 years that he's been directing the fortunes of Baltimore Colts?
Shula was a head coach before Sinatra recorded Fly Me to the Moon, The Way You Look Tonight, and My Kind of Town.
Probably many, many more.
First and 10 from the 37.
In the middle of the road, Steve Hurt came up with that.
Bono throws incomplete. Well, Shula again made the cover of Sports Illustrated this week. Not the happiest cover, though. They juxtaposed Pat Riley of the Miami Heat, and Riley off to a great start with Don, hot and not. And Riley was incensed. I talked to Pat today. He's out on the West Coast with his team, and he said, if I'd have known what they were going to do and put it in that context, I would not have been a part of that article. The article, there were 2 of them. One was very complimentary toward the Heat. The other was about Shula. And Pat said, I'm embarrassed.
Also said what's going on with Don Shula in South Florida is flat wrong.
Second down and 10 from the 37-yard line. Allen, flag goes down. Marcus cuts it back the other way. Sort of like a Super Bowl run of 83. And Allen goes over the bench at the end of the play.
Marcus goes over a table. Boy, and you get the feeling this was probably a lot of work for nothing as far as Allen's concerned. Almost certainly a penalty like this goes against the Chiefs, and it will. All right, that's a lot of effort and a perilous landing for Marcus Allen for nothing.
Holding, number 38, offense. Still second down.
Kimball Anders, the fullback, draws the flag, and let's take a look at Marcus, who gets in trouble with the furniture on the sidelines.
Marcus had a problem with the old brakes. He could have stopped. It looked like well before. There's the hold right there. A full-blown tackle on Trace Armstrong by Kimball Anders.
Second down and 20 now at the 26 as we come upon the 2-minute warning. That much time left in the first half with Miami leading Kansas City 13-0. Minutes left in the half. John Alt, who has had back problems for a long time. Right now he's on the sideline, and Jeff Criswell is taking his spot at left tackle for Kansas City. Second and 20.
John, a very big man. 6'8", 310 pounds. That's a big hunk of humanity.
Bono. And that's incomplete. Slaughter looks for the flag, and here it comes. They throw one in. Terrell Buckley with the coverage.
Well, Buckley needn't have bothered. That ball again was overthrown. But he did hit him early, and that'll get the flag every time.
And there's J.B. Brown, who's been hurt.
Number 27, defense. First down.
Buckley taking the spot of that man.
Brown injured his knee and missed last week and was held out this week. There's the contact long before the ball arrives in the area. Chiefs would dearly love to put some numbers on the board before the half.
First and 10 from the 43-yard line. And that's incomplete. Willie Davis, the intended receiver, covered by Frankie Smith. So, Frank, we cover all the sports here on Monday Night Football. You saw Mickey Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat. What's the story with Alonzo Mourning?
Well, the word is it's not as bad as they thought it was. A little MRI, and they expect him to be out a couple of weeks, and they need him.
Heat off to a good start. Florida Panthers leading their division in the National Hockey League. A lot of things happening here. Second down and 10 from the 43. Bono under pressure, throws to Marcus Allen, and he gets tackled at the 41-yard line by Marco Coleman. But just to button up on Pat Riley, he wanted it to be very plainly stated there is no coach in all of sport that he holds in higher regard and higher esteem than Don Shula, and he was embarrassed and shocked when he saw the cover of Sports Illustrated last week and the juxtaposition. Timeout. 13-0 Miami. Okay, Brent, third down and 12 for Kansas City as Bono slings one over the middle and out in front of the intended receiver, Dana Hughes.
Well, perfect protection, a wide open receiver, and everything was going well right up to the delivery of the football, and we've documented it to this point, but painfully obvious that Steve Bono is having trouble throwing the football.
Hughes can't even get a finger on it. No, and he was wide open.
Louis Aguiar to punt. O.J. McDuffie back to receive it. Aguiar moving to his left to accept the snap, and McDuffie fields at the 18 as a flag down, and he runs it back to the 26-yard line with 1:17 left in the half. Your basic and eligible man downfield.
Number 83 of the kicking team, illegally downfield. The penalty is declined.
Well, no team, we bring you these nuggets from time to time, that has ever lost a regular season game to the New York Jets has ever won a Super Bowl at the end of that season. Kansas City didn't play them.
What a terrible thing to put us.
So guess which team we're talking about.
Well, that'll make Jets fans happy all around America. If there are Jets fans all around America.
Don Shula said that was the low point of the season, that loss in the Meadowlands to the Jets. Marino throws. Kirby makes the catch. And almost lost the ball, but retains it up at the 32-yard line. Tackled by Collins and Bayless. Each team with 2 timeouts remaining, a minute left in the half.
Not much of a sense of urgency on the part of the Dolphins.
Second down and 4 as Marino gets sacked, loses the football, and Dan Saliamua couldn't get it. Neil Smith hits one out of the park because he created it, and at the bottom of the pile,
I think Richmond Webb got it.
Are the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, and Dan's holding his right arm, his right hand.
Oh boy, Booker and Saliamua both overplayed the ball.
Webb recovers the fumble somehow, some way. So Smith hits one out of the park, as he so notes at the end of the play, but it wound up off the top of the wall.
There's Booker, and Saliamua just really knocked him off the ball.
3rd and 14, and they give it to Kirby, and he works his way up to the 28-yard line.
And Dan Marino is shaking his hand. Dan Marino leaves the field here at the end of the first half, and he has hurt his right wrist or right hand in some way.
That's the first thing we'll check out when the second half commences. Halftime 13-0. We'll return after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations. Ready to start the second half. Miami 13, Kansas City nothing. We saw Dan Marino shaking his hand, ringing it out as he left the field at the end of the first half. Lynn Swan, what's the latest?
Well, he came out here for the second half warm-up. He was throwing the ball fine. I asked him about the hand. He gave me a thumbs up, said it was okay, gave me a very confident smile, and he went back to throwing the football. And so I think he'll be okay. My big concern is all the little injuries for the Kansas City Chiefs, Al. I mean, the first half, it was Neil Smith, Lake Dawson, John Alt, Dale Carter. All of them came out at one time or another with some kind of injury, and Marty Schottenheimer told the guys in the locker room, forget the first half, let's go out and try and put one half together. We're still in the ball game.
Let's go back and take a look at that play with Marino at the end of the first half. Neil Smith coming in, and Dan's hand hits the face mask of Smith.
Well, he looked in pain when he was leaving the football field, but it sounds like he's all right.
And that play ended up with a very alert fumble recovery by Richmond Webb that kept Kansas City from having possession deep in Miami territory, and in essence has kept the Chiefs off the scoreboard as they're down 13-0, and I think the ugliest first half they've played in a while.
Elliott sends it to the 1. Randall Hill up to the 22-yard line. And let's take a look at the numbers through the first 30 minutes of play. Gary Stevens going over things with Marino before Dan comes out. Miami on top 13-0.
Only 81 yards of offense for the Kansas City Chiefs in the first half.
Look at
3 turnovers.
Look at the time of possession.
Better than 2-1 favoring the Dolphins. They're just a miserable half all the way around for Kansas City. And while we're talking about all the injuries for this 11-2 team, I have to think that finger of Steve Bono is one of the unreported injuries. It's really affecting the Chiefs and their ability to play a good football game.
From the 22-yard line, Marino drops it off underneath to Bernie Parmalee, who sprints back the other way and picks up a first down. Neil Smith then creates a fumble at the end of the play. And Miami retains possession.
Oh, they were so lucky, though. Neil Smith came in blindsiding Parmalee and took a shot at the football, and he got it out.
Well, first it was Richmond Webb. He recovers the fumble of Dan Marino, and that time I think the other tackle, Billy Milner, gets all the way down there.
Smith, tremendous effort on, first of all, he was pressuring on the pass rush, got up. Look, he's down here. He's been blocked out of the play, gets up, comes in behind Parmalee, jars the ball loose, but Miami recovers.
First down from the 34. That was Parmalee's first fumble in 12 games after he had fumbled 3 times in the season's first 2 games. Gain of 4 here. Jamison with the stop. And an injury timeout. One of the Chiefs shaken up on the 35-yard line, and that is Vaughn Booker. So that defensive line of Kansas City taking its lumps tonight.
Black & Decker presents How Would You Fix It?
Hi, I'm Matt Moore, and I played in several championship games with the Miami Dolphins. Tonight, the Dolphins are winning the battle of the takeaway. Kansas City has been the leader in the conference in takeaways. Tonight, the Dolphins are ahead, and they're running the football. They're not living and dying by Danny's arm, and they must continue to run the football. If they get over 100 yards, they'll win the game tonight.
Fly
me to the moon.
That's right.
Fly me to the moon.
Oh, so that the old cliche, moon over Miami, right? All right. Well, over all of Dade County.
Meanwhile, Kansas City, best record in football, really struggling here tonight. Little on offense, and they, more than anything, they are getting a lot of nicks on Booker now on the sidelines. They're looking at him.
It is second down and 6 after that injury timeout. McDuffie goes in motion. Miami up 13-0. And Bernie Parmalee with a flag coming in. And from the umpire, that normally means offensive holding.
Marty didn't even wait for the call. He said, we'll take it.
Yep. Almost certainly affect one of the Dolphins on the offensive line, if that's the case.
Holding. 69, offense, still second down.
That's a perfect segue to one of the Dolphins offensive linemen who was honored here at halftime today, Bob Kuchenberg, former All-Pro multiple times for the Dolphins and a member of that undefeated football team, joins their ring of honor around Joe Robbie Stadium here.
190 games now played over 15 years.
Yeah, that's Al on one side of that banner, Frank on the other, as they unveil Cooch.
Yep.
One of the most popular Dolphin players of all time.
Ooh, Neil Smith right there. Bernie Parmalee.
Well, somebody's got to try to fire the Chiefs up. Let's face it, they've been sleepwalking, and they've been acting like that 11-2 record was going to knock the Dolphins off the ball, and it was going to tackle people, and it was going to throw the football. That's a good job of Neil Smith, keeping the shoulder pads parallel to the ground, playing off the block, and then going upfield to make the play.
Of course, if you were not with us early, Derek Thomas, their all-pro linebacker, not playing tonight, not even in uniform. He has a slightly pulled groin, and they don't want to aggravate that.
They just don't give you the impression of a football team that's playing with a lot of emotion.
No. Third down and 18 with McDuffie in motion. Kansas City rushes only 3, and that's enough to flush Marino out of the pocket. He gets it to Fryer, but Irving's about 5 yards short of the first down. Saliamua putting the pressure on at the end of the play. So it's fourth down. The Kansas City Chiefs 11-2. Derek Thomas not in uniform tonight with that groin pull. They'll go home to end the season against Denver and Seattle. They're a team with only 2 losses, one at Cleveland in the 4th game of the year, the other at Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. John Kidd to kick. Danon Hughes is back to receive it. Hughes at the 17-yard line and gets no blocking and no help at all, and he's tackled at that spot by Sean Hill. Miami leading 13-0 early in the third.
You think they might have scrubbed it?
I think they're doing some major editing.
We were pretty bad.
America wants to know when we're going to be on.
So do we. Keep those residuals coming in. From the 17-yard line, Kimball Anders breaks it. Down the sideline he goes, and Kimball Anders is being chased down by Stewart and finally shoved out of bounds. But they're going to say he first stepped out at the 39-yard line of the Dolphins.
Well, Kimball Anders is quietly having a superb year for Kansas City. He's turned into the complete football player, came up as a free agent out of Houston in '91, and he is one of the fine blocking backs in the league, a good receiver.
That's the longest run of his career, 44 yards for Kimball Anders.
A very timely one. They needed something to spark them. Good break to the inside, leaving Will Shields, but he did it the right way.
Bono at the 39. And Marcus Allen, ooh, does he get popped. Somehow Slaughter winds up with the ball. What a bizarre looking play. Allen goes down, Slaughter gets the ball, and Brian Cox, who's been pretty quiet tonight, haven't called his name much, right in the middle of the action. Terrell Buckley was the guy who hit Marcus.
A lot of time for Bono. He just kind of eased out of the pocket. Just good coverage downfield. He had no place to put it. Dumped it off to Marcus, and Marcus, I'm sure, went back. Don't ever do that to me again.
And somehow Webster Slaughter alertly comes up with the ball on the sideline.
2nd and 8. Fake to Allen. Bono throws. Marcus makes the catch, holds on to it at the 28-yard line, and by stretching out picks up the first down.
It's not been a big year for receptions for Marcus, but they have been key receptions when he's made them. Works well out of the backfield, kept himself alive there, and gets the first down.
Well, as Paul Hackett, the offensive coordinator, directs this drive from upstairs. This is a drive where Kansas City desperately needs to finish it off. They need to get some points, crawl back in this football game.
10.5 minutes left in the third. From the 28-yard line, Allen behind Anders. Good block by Kimball to spring him. And Marcus is out of bounds at the 14-yard line. A run out by Lewis Oliver.
Boy, how's that for some dynamic blocking at the point of attack? Putting the Dolphins on the ground. Will Shields, number 68. He gets his guy. Kimball Anders, the fullback, gets his. And John Alt comes back and finishes off Brian Cox. 3 beautiful blocks at the point of attack for Kansas City.
Marcus Allen, 15 yards on the play. 7 carries tonight for 55 yards. Marcus again to the 8-yard line. Brian Cox makes the tackle. Marcus last week, big day in Oakland. He became the first player in the history of the National Football League to accumulate 10,000 yards rushing to go along with 5,000 yards receiving. And he's already said if he goes into the Hall of Fame, and clearly he will, he's going in as a Chief, not a Raider.
They might scrub the 5-year waiting rule for Marcus Allen. They might as well.
2nd and 4 from the 8. Allen again. And he's a little short of the first down, setting up a 3rd and 1.
Of course, every time Marcus gets near the goal line, he is the man the Kansas City Chiefs love to go to, and for very, very good reason. It's because of the tremendous success he's had getting the ball into the end zone. You see Marcus Allen in 3rd place, 1 more touchdown. He ties the immortal Jim Brown for all-time 2nd place behind Jerry Rice, who of course continues to add to his lead on a weekly basis.
3rd down and 1. Donnell Bennett comes in as the blocking back. Allen is the tailback. Here goes Marcus, and he has enough for the first down, I believe. The Dolphins are going to argue that point, but it appears he stretched out. Johnny Greer will bring the change in.
Every time we start comparing records, you almost have to, when you talk about Jim Brown, is point out that he played 9 years. Marcus is in his 14th. Jim Brown's seasons were 14-game seasons. Just truly the most remarkable running back that I've ever watched play this game.
Well, that's why I used the term immortal. Yeah. You don't put that tag on very many people, and Jim Brown, one of the very few.
Ooh. Just that much short.
Well, choices for Kansas City. I think you've got to go for it. Now, a play fake to Marcus and a pass to the secret weapon, Joe Valerio. Always an option.
Yeah, Valerio will be an eligible receiver. There he is lining up on the outside. And they give it to Marcus, and Marcus gets taken down at the line of scrimmage.
I don't think he got it. That was a good play by the Dolphins.
Dolphins are saying no. And the defense has been ridiculed over the past few weeks. Now is hearing the chant defense.
We've had no indication yet.
Marcus upset over the spot.
That's not a good sign for Kansas City.
No. Marcus said that's not where they stopped me.
Running backs have a sense about where their progress was stopped.
Yeah. Well, Marcus did not get much in the way of headway.
Ooh. Short. Well, Miami may have saved its season with a great stand last week against Atlanta, giving them the ball back. And they just duplicated the feat here with 8:18 to go in the third. 13-0 Miami. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs going for it on 4th down and less than 1 and stopped by the Miami defense.
Boy, it's tough to single out any one of the Dolphins. There were about 4 or 5 that put a shoulder pad on Marcus Allen.
Including Troy Vincent, who came knifing in from the secondary. Flag comes in. Bernie Parmalee takes it up to the 9-yard line. Push him back halfway to the goal line, and back to the 2-yard line they'll go.
Holding, 61, offense, still first down.
That's Tim Ruddy, the center, and boy, does this guy really come on. Just a second-year guy from Notre Dame, and Don Shula can't say enough nice things about Ruddy. There he is in the middle of your screen, 61. You know, that's just locked up with a nose tackle. It's tough to tell whether that's holding or not.
Kirby trying to give them some breathing room.
And this is the part of the field, guys, that as an offensive lineman, I can tell you,
terrorized.
Oh yeah, because now you're looking at having to, you know, having the possibility of throwing the football, and which means you're going to have to pass protect back in your own end zone. And talk about keeping those hands on your chest. Holding in the end zone is a safety, and quite embarrassing.
Did you ever?
No. Didn't even think about it.
2nd and 11, and the catch is not made by McDuffie. Simeon all over him at the 5-yard line.
This is the place where also Dan Marino is going to be very careful he does not get it picked off. He'll take little or no chance down here. Neil Smith now commanding, and these double coverage on this play, they've been handling with a lot of single blocking, with Billy Milner doing a fine job against him. You're not going to keep him out of the face of your quarterback all night long.
No, and I wouldn't ask my rookie to do it one-on-one, not at this position on the field.
Neal with that designer noseband. 3rd down and 11. All kinds of entanglement and flags and the whole thing. Randall Hill and Darren Anderson. And Marty saying Darren had every right to do what he was doing.
Well, Hill was fighting back inside and driving against Anderson to get back at the ball. And they're going to rule it against Darren Anderson. Hill on a fly. Breaking it back. This is the play they work on. It's a timing pattern.
Pass interference. Number 44, defense. First down.
Randall Hill taking it up for a first down mark. Marino throwing it to the inside, and Randall Hill fighting back, trying to fight back through Darren Anderson, and Anderson got the arms up there and gets the flag.
The body position wouldn't have drawn the flag. I think you're right, Frank. The hands on the shoulder pads are what brought the flag.
Fake to Kirby. Marino on a reverse roll, and the catch was made by Irving Fryer at the 37 and a first down.
Needless to say, Marty more than just a tad upset at drawing that call. But again, the body position I don't think would have brought the flag. It's getting the arms up on the shoulder pads and giving the appearance that you're fronting him and keeping him away with your hands.
And Anderson really almost trying to get away from him himself, but the hands were there.
Bernie Parley having his right ankle worked on and wrapped, so the ace running back shelved for the moment. Kirby in the backfield. Kirby gets the football, and Kirby takes it up to the 41-yard line. Brian Washington makes the tackle. So they work on Parmalee, and the way he responds to the fact that he knows he's on camera is that it's nothing real serious, and they're saying it's a sprained right ankle.
Wasn't Bernie the guy that used to work for UPS?
Yes, sir.
It's 868 yards rushing last year.
On his way to
another
that
fine year. This year, that must seem like a long time ago.
Got us in there now. Kirby came back from a very serious knee injury in the fourth game of a year ago, and he's just about 100% once again.
And Kirby takes it up to the 44-yard line. Terry Kirby. Brother Wayne plays with the Cleveland Indians as you look down upon Joe Robbie Stadium from the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, moored in Pompano Beach.
And we are in just about the only warm place in America, aren't we?
Well, and Southern California.
Yep.
And Arizona. But up north, we don't have to tell you what's been going on. Buffalo with 3 feet of snow. And that's where Miami will be on Sunday against the Bills.
They can get in.
Yeah, third. And that's broken up. Fryer, the intended receiver. Fourth down. Marino muttering as he comes off the field.
A little crossing pattern. It was performed well. There's a little pick play developed with the crossing pattern and the ball in there. And again, this is one you got to say that Fryer very easily could have handled, should have handled, and just dropped it.
Irving has struggled with the football over the last couple of weeks, uncharacteristically.
Kidd kicks. Fair catch called for and accepted at the 23-yard line by Dana Hughes. Chiefs and Bono. Brian Cox tonight has been limited to 2 tackles. Quiet night for a man who's anything but quiet.
But they are pitching a shutout.
Yep. In a game that's vital for Miami. It's their final home game of the year. They control their own fate in terms of getting into the playoffs, and they end on the road at Buffalo, and that's St. Louis. First and 10, Kansas City from the 23-yard line as Steve Bono surveys the field and guns one up to the 35-yard line, taken in there by Keith Cash.
Before the game tonight, they were celebrating Mark Bonacani night here. Fans asked to contribute to the Miami Project. Of course, the love of Nick Bonacani, the former All-Pro and very popular Dolphin here in Miami, played on the Super Bowl teams. But it was 10 years ago that Mark was paralyzed in a football accident, and his father has dedicated himself to the Miami Project to fight paralysis, to trying to find a cure for paralysis. They've done a wonderful job.
Fantastic, raising millions of dollars through the years. As Marcus Allen takes it up to the 40-yard line. Chris Singleton making the tackle.
Big plans now. Excuse me, Dan. Big plans now for a new $30 million facility here at the University of Miami.
What they're doing tonight is asking for the fans entering the stadium tonight to make a donation on their way in. They were hoping to raise up to $100,000, and of course Nick Bonacani rightfully on the Dolphin Ring of Honor here, Joe Robbie.
Great family story. Nick and Mark's mother Terry, they dedicated their lives to finding a cure for paralysis.
2nd and 5. Bono incomplete. Webb
Buster Slaughter reaching for it with one hand, but can't haul it in.
No, but I think that's a part of the field that the Kansas City Chiefs have to challenge. They've been dinking and dunking all night and trying something down the middle, going over the top. This is a team that has to try to make something happen. Slaughter has the step on Buckley. The ball just a shade overthrown, or else they've got the big play they're looking for.
And Dan, you're right. That's the play should challenge it too. J.B. Brown out of the game. Terrell Buckley making a second start. And that's where they should be trying to get the completions.
3rd and 5. Bono has dinked and dunked 7 of 19 for a measly 58 yards. And that's incomplete. And a marker does come in.
I think it's across the field on Troy Vincent against Lake Dawson. They threw it right at, they were all tangled up and they threw it right at their feet.
Back judge making the call.
Johnny Greer is asking, was it after the ball was thrown?
Lewis Richard is the back judge.
Illegal contact. Number 23, defense. First down.
Yeah, Troy Vincent clear across the other side of the field, away from the action. And he was working against Lake Dawson in what appeared to be man coverage. There he is. 23 is Troy Vincent. Here comes Lake Dawson. And beyond those 5 yards, you got to keep those hands off him.
I'd say that was illegal contact. About 20 yards worth.
First down, Kansas City from the 46. Good fake to Marcus. Going deep, but the coverage is beautiful. It's too good, in fact, because Oliver and Vincent were both there, and neither could pick it off.
Boy, does Bono take a shot in the knees from Marco Coleman. Comes in on the pass rush, and Steve is hit very awkwardly, and he's very fortunate that he's not injured. Coleman with the pressure that time up the middle. He's crawling on his way trying to get to Steve Bono. And
oh, he is so fortunate.
Boy, a lot of times you'll see the guy comes out of that with a hyperextended knee.
Slaughter had fallen down at the end of the pattern, and the Dolphins run into each other trying for the pick. And Marcus Allen swings to the outside, and Hollier takes him down. It'll be 3rd and 9 with 3:20 to go, third quarter, and Miami leading 13-0. Do you think Tom Olivedotti's license plate has the words "much maligned" in front of his name?
Well, when you talk to other coaches around the National Football League, they'll tell you that's certainly the case.
Yep.
Tom Olivedotti used to coach for Marty Schottenheimer before he came to the Dolphins when Marty was in Cleveland. Marty, when you talk to him, he has nothing but respect for Tom Olivedotti.
And he's held that spot longer than any defensive coordinator in the league.
3rd down and 9 from the 46. Bono throws, and it's incomplete. Gene Atkins breaking it up, and a flag comes in. Derek Walker, the intended receiver.
Well, that really came in late.
Atkins may have been early, and the flag was very late.
Pass interference. 29, defense.
29 is Frankie Smith. It was Atkins making the contact, I believe.
Yeah. Just called the wrong number.
I think we can add extremely angry to Olivedotti's license plate.
Yep. And the crowd responds because they just showed it up on the big screen.
Bono again, just a little late getting in there. Again, the ball not with a tight spiral. We're very close.
From the 36-yard line, Greg Hill picks up the yard to the 35-yard line. 2nd and 9.
Hill, of course, spelling Marcus Allen, and Greg Hill has had now in his 2nd year, first-round pick a year ago out of Texas A&M, is over 500 yards rushing this year. He's seen much more action, and they're trying to get it almost 50-50 between Hill and Allen. Let's take a look at that hit again. I think it's a good call. He was there just a little before the ball.
2nd and 9 from the 35-yard line.
Bono caught by Walker, and he takes it to the 15. So the penalties keeping this drive alive, and Kansas City trying to make it pay off, but now penalties will stymie the drive. Holding Chiefs.
Well, I'm sure Don Shula's going, it's about time when one went the other way. 2 calls against my team kept this drive alive. And one of the offensive linemen, I'm assuming, got real lucky in that Johnny Greer's microphone went dead.
Second long, good time to blitz. Dolphins don't do that much of it. They like to bring Cox in a situation like this. Number 51.
Second down and 19 now from the 45, and Allen gets dragged down by Jeff Cross, number 91. Officially, that hold was on Jeff Criswell. Well, boys, I'll be happy to welcome you to California next week as we do our first game from San Francisco this season. The 49ers and the Vikings, after a Monday night schedule heavily weighted toward the east. In fact, the only person with more frequent flyer miles than me this year is Hazel O'Leary.
Oh, Al.
3rd down and 13. I'd love getting mail. 3rd and 13.
And get it you shall.
Bono throws, catch is made. Keith Cash to the 28-yard line, and they're going to give him a pretty good spot closer to the 27. What kind of a spot is that?
Well, I'll tell you, he really sacrificed his body looking for the first down marker. Did a spin, a very dangerous type of spin over the defender. He's complaining he didn't get enough out of it.
You know, the determining factor here is whether or not he's down by contact.
Was he touched there?
He might not have been touched. See, if
there.
he was touched, he's down there. If he's not touched, he's not down until there.
It's Troy Vincent coming under him. They're saying that he was not touched by Troy Vincent, and he might not have been. He did a 360 over Troy Vincent, just, as I said, sacrificing the body in the attempt for the first down.
And he had the presence of mind to keep going, to keep rolling along and crawling along until somebody in a Miami uniform hits him.
Good call by the official. We take back our exclamation.
And a fine piece of work by Cash. Wonderful effort going for the first down. Well, short again. Chiefs failed on a 4th down at the Miami goal line with a Marcus Allen shot off right guard. Let's see what they try this time.
Well, now wouldn't be a bad time for your play action, Dan. This is a big play for Kansas City.
Yep. Joe Valerio again is an eligible receiver. Donnell Bennett's the fullback. They send Marcus in motion. They give it to Bennett, and they stop him. Tim Bowens, the first in there.
I think it's Tim Bowens all by himself, isn't it? He gets the penetration, and he's around the feet. Brian Cox doing a little karaoke on the way over to the Dolphins bench. There seems to be a lot of milling and mooing out there about where this ball is going to be spotted, but I don't see any way that Kansas City comes up with a first down. Do you?
He was hit well behind the line of scrimmage.
Bennett's been hurt. That was his first carry of the season.
What a play by Bowens.
Oh boy, he is all the way into the Kansas City backfield.
They'll measure to make it official.
Well, this would be one of the great spots of all time if he got the first down. Yeah, no, not even close.
And they would overrun their position, these Dolphin fans. That was so obvious. Superb play by Bowens.
Brian Helmet loves to throw helmets. His or anybody else's. We have helmets crashing all over the joint on Monday Night Football.
Lamar Hunt will send him a bill. Brian Cox over on the Dolphins sideline.
It's having a quiet night.
Went to commercial with him smashing a Kansas City helmet. I'm wondering if someone in that pileup surrendered it voluntarily or if he forcibly removed it.
Keith Byers in the backfield. Some interesting numbers in his career as illustrated there. He's blocking for Parmalee, who gets taken down by Brian Washington. In fact, Byers is a member of a pretty exclusive club. Nobody can enter this door who has less than 23 rushing TDs, 23 receiving TDs, 6 passing TDs, and the velvet rope comes up. There's Mr. Byers, and he opens up the door. There's only one other guy in that club. Frank, you're adorable.
Well, put them up there. They were good numbers. Is that all you got on that graphic?
Yep.
Were you behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
And again, if you wonder why Disney spent $19 billion for us, $18 billion was for that animation department. End of the third quarter, 13-0 Miami. Monday Night Football back after this from our ABC stations.
Toy Story's got nothing on us.
Well, told you about Keith Byers, and there are the Giffords. Career totals in rushing, receiving, and touchdown passes. Look at that pose, Frank.
Exactly. You left out my field goals, my interception returns, and I'll bring him in next week.
A Hall of Fame career.
That's a Sherry and a sack pose if I've ever seen one. From the 34-yard line, second down and 3. And Bernie Parmalee takes it up to the 36 as we begin the fourth quarter. 13-0 Miami in the Dolphins' final home game of the season. Don Shula wrapping up his 26th season as the head coach here. 7 others as the head coach of the Baltimore Colts at the age of 65. And we've talked about it throughout the game. It's been the primary topic of conversation in South Florida for weeks. With or done. 3rd and 1 from the 37-yard line. And plunging, Bernie Parmalee stopped by Smith and close to a first down.
I tell you, there's nobody really breathing easily on that Dolphin bench either, because Kansas City has not been winning in a very pretty fashion throughout the entire season. 3 of their games have been won in overtime. They have won on as we know, in our San Diego game on Monday night, with an 86-yard punt return, and they've won on getting fumbles in the fourth quarter, and they're a scrambling, hustling team. And you're not safe for 13 points.
Marino on first down, throws into a lot of traffic, trying to jam it into Gary Clark, and James Hasty, the ex-Jet, was there to break it up.
Irving Fryer throwing a fit about 30 yards down the field, feeling that he was so wide open that the ball should have come his way. Although Gary Clark in traffic, the ball a little bit behind him. Outstanding coverage by Hasty. That's a risky pass for Dan, trying to force that into that much traffic.
Well, they hit the jackpot with a couple of Jets. Hasty and Brian Washington moved into starters, and they've been good ones all season for Kansas City.
On 2nd and 10, Marino has time, and Gary Clark got open at the very end, but the pass underthrown. 3rd down and 10. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by IBM, solutions for a small planet. The employee owners of Trans World Airlines. We're up to something good. Sharp Electronics Corporation. From sharp minds come sharp products. And Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings.
Derek Thomas on the sidelines. Neil Smith having to work for his paycheck tonight, along with his Kansas City defensive mates, trying to hold the Dolphins to this 13-point edge.
3rd down 10. Marino throws off his back foot, and nobody's home. 4th and 10.
Well, the defense is doing their part. They're going to get the ball back for their offensive team, which has done just about a sum total of nothing tonight. I don't know, is this cup half full or half empty?
Yeah.
Is this a tremendous effort by Tom Olivedotti's defensive team, or is this just a miserable performance by Kansas City's offense?
Probably a little bit of both right now, in a game that clearly is more important to Miami, but we can't overlook what we talked about at the very top. the acquiring of home field advantage through the playoffs by Kansas City. Good kick by Kidd, fielded by Hughes, and he's tackled at the 11-yard line. Sean Hill leading the charge. 52-yard punt. 13-14 left in the fourth. 13-0 Dolphins. Regulation, Kansas City has it at its 12-yard line. Miami leading 13-0. Bono going deep, and Webster Slaughter catches the wobbly pass up near midfield, taken down at the 46-yard line. So Bono unleashes one, and the Chiefs out near midfield.
And again, it was Buckley who was victimized. They've been trying to go there. That ball was not pretty, but it got there. Again, let's take a look at Slaughter. Just a straight sprint, and he got by Buckley, and Bono was able to get it in there.
And I wouldn't stop now. They've been trying to go deep. First time they succeeded, I wouldn't give up on it.
From the 46, Bono, and that's through the hands of Cash. Well, gents, the NFL went to this playoff setup in 1990 with 2 wild-card games. We talk about home field advantage. Of the 40 teams that have played first-round games from 1990 on, only 1 has gone to the Super Bowl, and only 2 have gone to the conference championship game. So people say, you know, you can make too much out of home field advantage. No. Sometimes you can't.
No. And another key thing is playing well in the month of December. You like to go into the playoffs on a roll with confidence. I'm not sure this is a confidence-inspiring game for the Chiefs tonight.
Coleman came in unabated, and thus the whistle.
False start, 89. Prior to the snap, still second down.
But it came in unabated because Keith Cash provoked it.
Good play by Marco Coleman, too. And Cash makes the move, the tight end. And Coleman responded. Take a look. That's number 89, top of your screen. Marco Coleman from the stand-up position saw that.
I think Bono scared both of them.
2nd and 15, and that's incomplete, intended for Webster Slaughter.
I don't blame you, Webster. That would have really hurt.
3rd down.
Little short arms there. You know, Bono's got, he should admit that he's got a problem if he's throwing the ball this way.
By the way, to wrap up that situation with first-round games, the only team to play a first-round game since 1990 and get to the Super Bowl was the Buffalo Bills in '92. That's the year they had that spectacular comeback against Houston and wound up beating Miami in the AFC Championship game. 3rd down and 15. And that's incomplete, intended for Willie Davis.
Well, that's where, if you're looking for the half full or half empty cup, as far as the Miami defense, it's full. That's just outstanding coverage. Good work by this Miami defensive team.
Good pressure, and Michael Stewart almost came up with an INT.
They had a guy below, they had a guy behind. That's just good coverage. That's just outstanding work by the Dolphins in their secondary. Michael Stewart gets a hand on the football. That's picture perfect, over the top and underneath coverage.
Louis Aguiar, bad kick, bounces at the 29. And kick, good bounce. Yeah. And rolls another 13 yards to the 16. Louis says, that ain't bad, 44 yards. That's about my average.
The book doesn't say how it got there.
Yeah. 13-0 Miami. Dolphins at the 16. They lead 13-0. 1st and 10 with 12:21 to go in the 4th. Parmalee picks up a hard yard.
You know, guys, we're a pretty tightly knit team here, and I think we'd be a little remiss if we didn't wish our producer's wife, Patty Wolf, all the very best. She is at any moment now going to present Kenny with a brand new little baby girl.
Hopefully that moment will wait at least about 14 more hours.
It's drawing nigh, is what I understand.
Patty's in the early stages of labor, so Patty, just relax.
He's on his way, babe.
Deep breathing.
Calm down.
Wait till about noon tomorrow, then go to work.
Second down and 9. And Parmalee takes it up to
Dan. Come on, what a way to put it.
Wow.
Go to work.
Oh, maybe 2:30 or 3.
A true labor of love.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
Of course, it's their first, and we're all nervous. We're all sweating this out, Patty.
Third down and 2 for Miami from the 24-yard line.
What are we, the three godfathers up here?
That's right. Better be. 3 men and a baby. This is O.J. McDuffie to the 30-yard line, and that's a first down. Dale Carter makes the tackle.
Yeah, we reiterate what we said earlier in the game that O.J. McDuffie has been such an asset to this offensive unit. He makes the big plays for them, the ones they have got to have.
Dolphins trying to go 8-6. Again, if Miami wins all of its games, they're in the playoffs. No matter what anybody else does, they still have a chance to win the Eastern Division title as well.
Indianapolis would have to lose, would they not?
Right. Among other things. Green gets taken down. There are only, 3 teams that have made the playoffs right now in the National Football League: Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Dallas. That's it. It was reported in some quarters yesterday and today the Bills had clinched the playoff spot. They have not. It's been reported in some quarters the Packers have clinched the playoff spot. They have not. It was also reported the 49ers have clinched the playoff spot. They have not. Apart from that, all the information you've heard today and yesterday was right. Only 3 teams are in.
I can only assume it was reported in the hindquarters.
Well, the very poignant thing that you just saw Dan Marino do to Bernie Parmalee. Parmalee made a mistake. He patted him on the back, screamed at him first.
Parmalee up to the 32. I know one thing, Dan. Those quarters weren't worth 2 bits.
Oh, you worked all day on that one.
Oh, no,
that's
not really.
That's the problem with these 9 o'clock starts. You have all day to think of that.
Right. Trying to stay up.
You wouldn't be nearly as mean if we had a noon kickoff.
That's right. Wouldn't be up. 3rd and 7 at the 32. Marino 17 of 32. His next pass will break Tarkenton's record for pass attempts, and here it is, barring a penalty.
Oh, wow.
And it is incomplete. They look around for a flag. Randall Hill puts his hands on his hips, but nothing is forthcoming, and Darren Anderson breaks it up. So Dan Marino with that pass is now the record holder in pass attempts to go with completions, yardage, and touchdown passes.
I don't think there's ever been a year that I've seen so many drops on the part of the Miami Dolphins. That one by Randall Hill hit him right on the numbers. Lost on it, of course, is the fact that he's the new record holder for attempts, but that pass should have been caught.
Vanover back in the game to return this kick. Kidd booms one. It's a beauty. 18-yard line for the rookie who played at Florida State. He gets gang tackled up at the 26. A 50-yard boot, 7-yard return. 8:33 left in regulation. 13-0 Dolphins. How rare are shutouts in the NFL? There have been 2 this season. Dallas beat the Giants 35-0 on opening night. Denver beat Oakland 27-0 in the middle of October. Where did you see those games, folks? Right here on Monday Night Football. Tonight's score, 13-0 Miami.
We're on top of it.
Yes. Some guys have all the luck.
Cutting edge.
First down, Kansas City at the 25-yard line. 8.5 minutes to go. Miami leading 13-0. Bono pursued by Coleman, and is lucky it wasn't picked off by Dwight Hollier.
Boy, the Dolphins had a blown coverage out there.
They were in a mess.
Yes, they were. They had Chris Singleton, number 55, trying to run with Webster Slaughter. He wasn't able to do it, and they just weren't able to get there. It was to the near side of the field here. They're all yelling and screaming before the snap of the ball.
And they were yelling and screaming at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, they were on different pages altogether.
They got away with one.
2nd and 10. Bono guns it to Cash. It's a 9-yard gain. It'll be 3rd and 1 at the 34-yard line.
Well, so far the story of this ball game is Kansas City being unsuccessful on 2 4th and very short yardage attempts. Both times not even close to getting the first down. Stuffed completely by the Miami Dolphins defense.
3rd and 1.
Of course, neither one of those two will be the most celebrated 4th and short of the weekend that wasn't converted.
Fake to Allen. Bono wobbles one into the waiting arms of Derek Walker for a first down at midfield. Lewis Oliver pops him.
Fine concentration on the part of Walker. That ball kind of waffling out there, hung up there, and he knew he was going to get pounded, and he was. But he came down with the ball and gets the first down.
Well, if you don't have an appreciation of what it takes to catch a football like this and then sustain a hit like that and hold on to the football,
that can hit you too.
That's a magnificent play.
Here's Allen cutting it back to the outside and picking up 9 to the 40-yard line. Michael Stewart makes the tackle.
And the Chiefs starting to make a little noise.
A little sense of urgency, and as Allen tried to hustle back to the huddle. Time ticking away.
84 yards tonight for Marcus, coming off his 124-yard performance last week. 2nd and 1 as Marino looks on from the sideline. Anders in motion. And Bono surveys, goes deep, underthrows it, and Davis is there on his knees at the 12-yard line. He was wide open, had to drop to his knees and hauls it in.
You know, Davis made a great play, and Bono saw it. A little rollout. They had that covered deep. Davis saw that he was going to be covered. He pulled up. He was right on the same page with Bono. Bono reading, and watch this. He knows he's going to be covered deep. A little out move. He sees the coverage. He stops, and Bono is right there with him. Good stuff.
Great adjustment by Davis from the 12-yard line. 1st and 10. Cash in motion. And to the 6-yard line, Keith Cash. 2nd down and 3 upcoming. Kansas City in the second half, no points on the board, but Paul Hackett's team has been marching up and down the field. There it is, 220 yards in the half and 3:01 in the game for KC.
And we've talked about how Kansas City has won ugly all year long. They've 3 overtime victories. They've come from behind. They've been able to do it whenever they've had to do it, and they're threatening again.
5:10 to go. 2nd and 3. Good fake to Anders. Bono throws. It's caught in the back of the end zone by Slaughter. Touchdown, Kansas City.
What a great play action fake by Bono. Beautiful fake. Froze the Miami defense. Gave Slaughter time to get clear in the back of the end zone.
Well, whoever it is, if that's Terrell Buckley on Slaughter, he falls completely to the ground. That's why Slaughter is wide open on this play. Webster Slaughter makes a break from the line of scrimmage, and he is wide open as his man is prone.
Ooh. Elliott, who missed 2 extra points last week, bangs one off the upright.
Oh, Lynn Elliott is in a major slump.
That is hard to do. Kick the ball.
Marty Schottenheimer's Chiefs trying to clinch a first-round bye, which they'll do. Don Shula's team just trying to stay very much alive in the playoff chase. Marcus Allen and his group trying to go 12-2. And again, if the Chiefs can win 2 of the remaining 3, including this one,
They have home field advantage, and the road to the Super Bowl would go through Kansas City, at least on the AFC side. First down 10, Kansas City at the 13-yard line of Miami with 2 minutes to go. Dolphins up by 7, and the Chiefs have 2 timeouts remaining. Bono on first down, retreating, buying time, throwing it out of bounds. Dana Hughes, the intended receiver. Great coverage by the Miami secondary.
Indeed it was. Bono had plenty of time to get a 3-step and get rid of the ball, but there was fine coverage downfield. He comes out of the pocket. Good scrambler. Has kind of sneaky speed. Just threw that away to avoid any possible interception.
Second and 10 at the 13. $1:52 left in regulation. Marcus to the 9-yard line, setting up a critical 3rd down and 6. Brian Cox with the tackle. And in fact, it's so critical that Kansas City's going to talk this one over. 3rd and 6, timeout KC, their second.
Well, coaches will tell you that they live for these moments. The incredible adrenaline flow, the rush that goes with having it all on the line in the final minutes.
Well, this is what
Don Shula talked about it last night.
He said this season notwithstanding, it's game day, it's being on the field, it's the competition.
And you know Marty feels the same way about it.
Well, the one, a couple things to mull around here while you're chewing on things. One is if Kansas City scores sometime within the next 20 or 30 seconds, that's a lot of time for Dan Marino to get back down the field. Let's assume they kick the extra point and tie up this football game. There's time for Dan Marino to make some noise to get his team into field goal range. And the Dolphins do have a good field goal kicker in Stoyanovich.
He beat Kansas City in the '90 playoffs with a 58-yarder.
3rd down and 6 from the 9. Bono throws, and it's dropped in the end zone by Vanover. Samaric Vanover with Michael Stewart on the coverage, dropped it.
So that was a play that appeared to be worthy of the time they spent on it during the timeout.
Well, Vanover will tell you he should have had it. It's thrown a little behind him. Not an easy catch, but one he should have had. Terrific speed, just accelerates away from Vincent, who fell. Oh, you've got to catch that one.
Right on the hand.
Well, again, Miami's season pretty much at stake here on 4th down. And it's lofted to the end zone and broken up.
Well, Buckley comes up big when he has to.
He went back to Terrell Buckley, and he makes the play. This crowd was almost silent a few moments ago, holding their collective breaths, and now the chant of defense.
Webster Slaughter at 6'1", Terrell Buckley at 5'9". The fade pattern, a real all-or-nothing shot. And that ball really too well played by Terrell Buckley to be a completion.
Off the hands of Buckley, and then the helmet of Slaughter. The deflection there, no way Slaughter's going to handle that.
So now Miami at the 10-yard line. Kansas City can stop the clock only once, which they'll do, I'm sure, after this first play. Marino sets up in a kneel-down formation, puts it down. Kansas City now will take a timeout. They've been calling for it, and a few seconds ticked off the clock. Miami, with 2 more plays, would take it down to 4 seconds, and it would be 4th down. They'd still have to snap it.
Kansas City, number 3, with the clock operator, please reset the clock to 1:26. Thank you.
Yeah, he's right.
Yep. Good work by Johnny Greer and his staff. Well, after losing 3 in a row,
The Dolphins come back and beat a team with a winning record in the Atlanta Falcons. They now beat the team with the best record in the NFC if they go on and win this ball game, in the AFC rather, and all of football for that matter. And Don Shula and Tom Olivadotti have got to feel like maybe they've turned the corner.
There has to be a 4th down snap in here because you've got a minute and 26.
Can I point out something? They could very well give it up for safety.
They could, but they're going to have a 4th down snap before this sequence is over.
They could, then should be 4 seconds, roughly 4 seconds.
Now 6 because they put the extra couple of seconds, assuming Marino takes it all the way down.
And the safety, taking the safety, is a ploy that Don Shula has used many times in the past.
Remember, at the end of the play clock goes to 40. The other thing they could do is run a play that maybe takes a couple of seconds off the clock because they're right down on the edge here. They could avoid, conceivably, a 4th down snap if they take enough time in the running of the play.
Well, I'm sure that's what they discussed over in the sidelines.
It is 2nd down and 11.
That's exactly what they're doing.
And that's what they plan to do here is Parmalee gets stopped up at the 8. The play clock on the whistle goes to 40. Shula looking at the clock. And they're going to be right on the edge of having to snap it or not snap it on 4th down at the end of this game.
What you could do here is give it to Parmalee and let him go parallel to the line of scrimmage and run around and try to burn off an extra 5 or 6 seconds and then just hook slide in.
Right, there's the game clock and the play clock.
They better hustle up there if they're even going to get this off.
It is 3rd down and 12. Marino takes it down to 1. And Bernie goes up to the 10-yard line, and that will just about do it. Yeah, they took enough time off the clock in those 2 plays not to have to snap it on 4th down.
Shula, again, a hero.
Yeah. Oh, they love him in Miami now. He's hot again.
Well, I think they're back to like. I'm not sure if it's all the way back to love.
Win number 346.
Yep. They'll love him next week if he beats Buffalo in Buffalo.
Yes.
True love.
And speaking of respect, there's a great deal right there between those 2 guys.
2 dear friends. You put them on a football field, they'll try to beat each other's brains out. But they're very close friends, both serve on the competition committee. Mutual respect.
I think Don was very appreciative of Marty's comments publicly this week as well in support of the beleaguered Shula, but he's not as beleaguered as he was a fortnight ago. His team is 8-6 as they win 13-6. We'll be back.